Hello, class. Several of you are using the physical version of the Associated Press style book. So I created this presentation to explain how to reference edited books in APA. Remember, that's American Psychological Association citation format. So there are different parts of a book, and the parts we're primarily concerned with here are the beginning sections whenever you're developing your reference. Now, the title page should be the first or probably the second page that you see whenever you open your book. And the title page, as you can see, has the title on it. In this case, it's the Associated Press style book. And often, especially for edited books, it'll include what edition it is and a list of editors as well. Now, this one, since this book is updated every couple of years, they include the edition number, which is the 57th edition, and it's 2024 to 2026. And so, whenever you are looking, again, we need to know what's the book title. We need to know the editors, and we need to know the publication year, the edition number, all that kind of stuff. Now, there's also something called a copyright page or a colophon. A colophon is the name for it whenever you have some of the copyright information, often a logo or something at the end of a book. But the copyright page is the part that appears right after the title. It's often on the same piece of paper. It's right there. And the copyright page, excuse me, includes the publication information. So that means stuff like the publishing company name. It'll usually include where their office is. Now, for APA formatting, we do not need to know where they are located. We just need to know who they are. So the publishing company and also the publication dates. So in this case, since there have been several different editions, they have the original versions publication date and the original edition, and then they have the current editions information on it. And we also have the copyright information. So usually there's some information on there about what kind of copyright it has. So if it's something where it has an unusual copyright, or if there are different editions, like when you read a book that was published in England, let's say, and they've developed a US edition, then it'll say on there the original copyright was this date for the first publication in under this company, etc. But then the American edition has this information on it. So you can see on here, we have the published by the Associated Press. So the Associated Press is our publisher, as well as the name of the book, the Associated Press style book. And we also have our information at the very bottom where it says, like, the first edition was published in August of 1977, and the current one is the 57th. And again, that was published in 2024. So if you're using that one, that would be your publication information. If you're using the previous edition, then include the previous edition's information on there. Now, some other important parts that you will see whenever you are looking at the first few pages in any book, there will usually be a table of contents. This is especially applicable when we're talking about textbooks or edited books like the Associated Press book. And it includes the names of sections and the place where they begin. So the first page of that section, you can find the name in the first section of each important entry in the book. And you'll see that too if you look at your Dynamics of Media Writing book. They have it right there where they say, like, chapter 1 is here and this specific resource is there and all that kind of stuff. And there's usually a foreword in there too. And the foreword is written by an editor or sometimes by a book reviewer, depending on what kind of book it is. and it provides background about the book or sometimes about the author and the book. And if you break it down to help you remember how to spell it and also what does this mean? Well, the four is the in or near the front. So if you think about a boat too, like the fore and the aft, um, and the and of course the second part is word, as in writing or speech. So it's the words in front, the forward. The index is a list of keywords and the pages where you can find them. The bibliography is the list of books referenced in the text or recommended by the author or editors. These can be ones that are valuable resources for you, especially if you're studying a particular field. And then, of course, some books will have a list of contributors. The Associated Press book does, and these are all people who worked on the book, but do not have a specific section assigned as like this person wrote this piece of the book. They are just listed in a big blob in the contributors section. And so whenever you are writing your reference for the book, you would not need to list all of the contributors. It's something where we're just leaving them off because we don't know who worked on which part specifically. So here's a picture, table of contents and contributors. You can see the contents. They even give you the foreword right here and what's new, contributors, style book, etc., all the way down to the index at the end. And again, the index is that spot where you can look alphabetically for specific terms and they'll give you the page numbers where you can find it. And of course, over here is a copy of the contributors the people who helped develop the book who were not part of the official editing team. So let's look at writing an APA reference for an edited book. Now, a chapter in an edited book, whenever you're writing this kind of entry, you can see here's an example directly from the APA, American Psychological Association website. And you can see we have our author, our year, our title, and we have an additional section in our source right here where we include editors in addition to the name of the book and the publishing group. So whenever you are writing an entry for a chapter in an edited book, then you want to include the author's name, last name, comma, first initial, the publication year, the section title. So whatever section or chapter that you are referencing, you would include that information next. Then the editor's names, the book title, and the publishing company and the URL or the DOI. Now, here's a link to that information. So you can click on here and go to the APA style site and see exactly what they're saying here. What I included in this demonstration is kind of the basic information, but you can get more answers on the APA style website. So you can see if an item is missing, this applies to any of the APA reference formatting things. So you've checked all over the website or your reference, like your pages or that part of the book where you should find it. You don't see anything, then you can leave it out. So if an item, in this case, if the chapter author is missing or the section author, then you would leave it out of the reference. Do not create references for chapters of authored books. So this refers to things like fiction and nonfiction books where there are one or two authors and they're the ones who wrote it, period. There isn't a team of editors and a team of authors collaborating to develop a book. So if we look at our Associated Press book, let's take a look at the entry for Columbus Day. We can see, of course, that it has that bold word Columbus Day. And since that is a proper name for something, it both parts, Columbus and Day, would be capitalized in our APA reference. Now, you can see again that no authors are provided for this specific section, but this section does include a page number. Up here it says page 42 and an entry name, which is Columbus Day. Now, the other information we need, again, is the name of the book, the Associated Press style book, which edition it is. It's the 57th edition. When was it published? It was published in 2024. Who was the publisher? The Associated Press. And we also have our list of editors on that title page as well. So altogether, we would start with the year since we don't have a specific chapter author. So we start with 2024. Then the title of our section is Columbus Day. It is not italicized because in this instance, the title of the book would be italicized. And after the section title, we have the editor's information. So in this case, we have several of them. So we list them with their first name, initial, and then the last name. Now that is different from the way authors' names are included in an APA reference. Remember, author's information is last name, comma, first name, initial. So in this case, we have our all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 editors listed here. We are using a comma and an ampersand before the last person, and we have that little mark right here, EDS, that stands for editors, and that's in parentheses. It's a little period, and then a comma and the Associated Press style book. So the name of the textbook, and in parentheses after the italicized name of the textbook, we have 57th edition. So in this case, the lowercase ed with a period is edition, then a comma, then we only need one P because this is a single page item. If there are multiple pages, then you use two Ps. So one P, single page, period, and then the page number, which is 42, close parentheses, period, and then who is the publisher? The publisher is the Associated Press. So we write the Associated Press, period. This was a physical book, so we do not have a URL or a DOI to reference. And that concludes this brief examination of how to write an APA reference for an edited book. I did include all of these references here for you as well, so you can examine them and see what all the different parts are if you want to go into that a bit deeper. I will see you in class.